Alright guys, so today we're going to be looking at the Ground Force 360, one of the devices Justin James has used to become one of the fastest swingers in the world. Stay tuned, I'm very excited to see what this machine has to offer. Alright guys, we are here in Jacksonville, Florida. We're actually in Mr. Jerry James's house. Yeah. Justin's father, not former, but world
two-time, yeah, 05, 06, I think.
World Longdrive champion in the Masters division or regular division?
Yeah, Masters division.
Yeah. So we came up here because I had to check this machine out. Justin made a post about the Ground Force 360, and I thought it was really interesting, so I had to come up and try it for myself. Real quick, this video is presented by Iron Jock. So Iron Jock is our new clothing sponsor. You can see Justin's got that on. Shirt, pants, I got the shirt on here. Silver ion technology, so your clothes will not stink. It's light, it's flexible, everything you need to swing and go fast. So super excited to have them on board. Justin, tell us about the Ground Force 360.
Okay, so rotation and ground force, obviously by nature of the name. Machine is, I don't know how many years old, but I grew up with this thing in my house. So this was at well, I guess we'll name drop. It was at Fred Funk's house because my dad is good friends with Fred. So Fred, VJ, obviously TBC is right across the street. A lot of people have trained on this. So eventually got moved in here. So I've trained on this since I was 13 years old, probably on and off, and I use it for baseball with pitching stuff as well, which we'll be able to demonstrate. But definitely an integral part of like how I was able to move it fast. A lot of it was natural for just kind of a natural transition to long drive. A lot of that is because of the mechanics and the way I used to learn the ground by nature of this machine. So it's really, the unique thing about it is it's dummy proof in that if you have somebody who's unathletic, doesn't know how to sequence correctly, the only way you can really move this effectively is if you do that. Phase 2, I believe, is in development of this at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado with ground force plates and things like that. So exciting stuff, but quite the machine as we're going to see, and has been in development for a very long time.
How many of these are in the world right now?
There are very few. There's some at the Michael Johnson's facility I think in Dallas. There's a few in Tampa. But not that many. Okay. So the owner, the creator, very small team. I think it's just him and one or two other people. So it's not a mass production. So he makes very few of them, keeps them very limited, and he's had a relationship with my dad and myself for a long time, and we've we'll get one in, beat the crap out of it, see how it holds up, and so it's been very, very interesting, and I think within the next few years, they will go to more of a mass market.
Well, let's jump into it. Show us how this thing works.
Cool. So, I guess just most basic application. Cool thing is we can set our range of motion from 20 degrees to 140 degrees. Actually, it's more like that. But I'll do 120, which is a pretty full turn, as you'll see. Then I can change my resistance and my weight as well. So I'm just 40 pounds each side right now. And I'm on two-way rotation, so it's going to give me resistance going left and resistance going right. So resistance this way, resistance that way. Now, if I want to change the mode, I can go concentric, eccentric, so there's some pushback. So, if I'll just go to the main menu, that was two-way rotation. I can go left rotate, so concentric with pushback, eccentric. Same thing on the other side. I can go left rotation only. And then I can play around as well with the different ranges of motion. So I'll face you guys. If I wanted to go 140 this way and let's say 70 this way, I'll simulate a left-handed pitching motion. But
I feel like I'm on an avatar ride at Disney or something.
So I'm a left-handed pitcher. I can get too much rotation going this way and there. right? So there's anything rotational you can set up with this. Obviously, the way that I use it the most, well, when I was playing baseball, I'd get in a lot of pitching specific positions. You know, for, let's say, an offensive lineman, you know, we'll set a shorter range of motion. And because, look, rotational exercise, it's hard to replicate at, you know, you can do stuff with a Swiss ball or with a med ball, but it's not quite there, right? But you can load this up with up to 120 pounds of resistance each side. Maybe something like football, where you can get in here and work on that punch. If I get here,
So when you're in that sequence, are you trying to fire your pelvis first, let the shoulders follow, or are you trying to fire everything from up top?
I am trying to fire, you know, pelvis first, ground first. So, and we've talked about ground force on our channel, but I have, unique to me, I'll you know, my terminology is push with the left, rip with the right, ball of foot. So I feel like I'm pushing dirt towards you and then ripping dirt back that way, right? So that's what I'm trying to feel. Boom, and then pelvic, you know, hip extension. That way. That's the beauty of this too, is if there's a move I'm trying to get somebody to feel or whatever, stick them in this, right? We don't have to worry about tilt. It's just kind of ground force mechanics.
Yeah.
And the faster they're starting to move this thing, the more efficiently they're doing it. So
all right, so let's go full golf application. Long drive or playing, you would typically max out the full range of motion.
yeah, I'm going to start a little bit more narrow, work up to, and you know, not many people can probably go 140, 140 range of motion, so a full range. Now to do this, the only way I can do this is, you know, pushing that right hip back, lifting the lead heel, so you power mechanics basically.
Got it.
You know, I'm not keeping lower body stable, just moving the upper body. So this is your full Mac Daddy turn. Right from here, how am I going to, in this range of motion, get this thing moving? I've got to start with my lower body, right? That little squat.
That's the interesting, that was the move that intrigued me, because as you're opening up down here, the shoulders are sort of staying closed initially.
Beautiful thing, yeah. So, you know, most people, when they get this position, they're going to fly open with their shoulder.
Right, that's why
You've
I
got
asked
some torque here, so you have to start with your lower body
Right.
here, and then all the way through.
Because I think that's a misconception about rotation is like everyone tries to fire the upper body fast.
Yeah, that's a death move.
Right, but really as you reach into your backswing and this completes its rotation, the pelvis starts to move in the opposite direction and the shoulders are still kind of holding
Yeah,
back.
they've got to stay
They gotta-
closed, especially for that club to shallow. Everybody wants to
Exactly.
shallow the club. You can't shallow the club if you're going like that.
Right.
So this has to stay close, 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 and then go.
So do you feel that in there? Right?
Absolutely,
Good.
yeah. It's upper and lower body separation to the max. Other golf applications, if I want to go left rotation with pushback, and I'll shorten the range of motion, just take it easy on myself. I'm going to left rotate, okay, so hit my shot, and then it's going to push back on me. So I'm going to control, okay, eccentrically all the way into that, you know, loaded position at the top. So, you know, strength and conditioning wise, I value stability. A lot of the strength movements I'm doing are at grind speed. So I'm controlling all the way through the move and not relying on momentum so that I have complete control all the way through that move. So from here, it's pushing back with 40 pounds of force. So I'm trying to control this and be smooth all the way through to the back of the swing. Control.
Stop at the top if you could. See right here, look at Justin's kind of oblique line there, just being, I mean, that's essentially what's happening in the golf swing. I think, you know, the fastest guys are the best at understanding how to wind up that, and you'll typically see that in kind of how the shirt is actually creasing, so that's pretty cool to see. The really cool thing about this is it sort of forces you into getting the ordering correct in the downswing. Love it. So you said some players start at 20, they work up to 50. Where do you start? Where do
For
you work?
most people, it's going to be really hard to go above 40, kind of where we're at right now. I'll start to push this 60, 80. If I'll shorten the range of motion. Like, let's see if I can go. Let's go to 6 or 50. It's up to 70. This might hurt. We'll see. Okay, but from here, I can go kind of narrow and kind of that grinding speed. Right, and on that grind speed, stuff I do with suspension training and different strength exercises, no momentum. So if I use the momentum, I just fire at the beginning and then ride into the finish. But here, I am no momentum, I'm consistent all the way through the movement. So that's a pure strength exercise. Now, or strength movement. If I want to work on more of power, okay, I will use momentum and just fire. All kinds of different ranges of motion and all kinds of different weights. Obviously, the thing I do the most is just that full turn to work on sequencing, reinforce how I want to use the ground, pushing and pulling, or what I say, pushing and ripping, and also keeping me flexible. To get to 140, I've really got to get into thoracic extension and open up that side.
That's one question I was going to ask you. So how much this do you actually feel improves your range of motion of being able to turn from side to side?
Well, a ton, and I think I've been doing this for a long time at this point. It's natural to me. The real opportunity for a machine like I think is from an instructional standpoint. Again, there's so many people, if you get them on this machine, a light bulb goes off, and like that's what you're talking about with sequencing.
Yeah.
Like Mike, who I've worked with, who helps us out. No idea how to use this at first. We're preaching because Mike works fitness with me and distance, and he gets lessons from my dad. Hey, let's use the ground a little better, push with that left side. Get him on here, the light bulb finally goes off.
Yeah.
And it starts like your lower body starts to look like roaring when you work on this, right? And is it 100% carryover? No, but the more intuitive it becomes here, the more out there we have the opportunity to, okay, remember what we're feeling on the ground force? Let's play around with some of that. The lower body starts to catch up, starts to do what we want, and then from there we can play around with swing plane and the position left wrist, stuff like that. But this is foundational, right? You've got to be able to use the ground correctly and be an athlete. And so much of what I do, from the kettlebell stuff to this to whatever it is, it's making a better athlete, right? So if you can't swing a kettlebell correctly and then you can, you're a better athlete. Your sequencing is better. If you have no idea how to do this and all of a sudden you're ripping 40 pounds, boom, 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 with the correct body sequencing, you're a better athlete. Yeah. So I like your chances out there a lot better now.
Right. How often are you using it? And what would a typical program look like?
So now that I live across town, I don't use this as much. A couple times a week. Same thing with what we've talked about before. Use this stuff sparingly, right? If we're going to use this 4 or 5 times a week, I use it once, twice a week. How many sets? 3 to 4 full golf turns. I might hit some shorter ones with some more resistance. But it's not like I'm training on this for an hour. Some workouts, this might be my whole workout. There's a variety of different things. I can do the full golf movements. I can do shorter ones. I can do ones where I'm in here real tight and just work on little turns. Again, the unique thing, it's very hard to train rotation in the gym. With strength training and with progressive loading like this. This is one of the few things that I've seen where you're able to even train with cables. It's not quite the same.
Right.
The hand movements are consistent, and so a very unique piece of equipment that I think in time we'll get around hopefully these are in training facilities all over the place.
Yes. Well, should we close with you doing a little burnout here?
Let's do it.
All right. So
let me open it up a little bit. I'll go to 120 just so I don't.
So that's 120 degrees each direction.
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
Yep.
All right, and then you'll get in there. He's got 70 pounds of resistance in each way.
It's quite a jump from boy. We'll see how it goes.
All right, let's see it.
Might die. See. All right, so the same thing. I'm being athletic. Let's kick the right hip back, weight into the right heel, and ball with left foot.
So it doesn't take much.
No,
But
it doesn't.
the sequencing looked phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's obviously heavier. If I crank that down to 20, you can go for a minute and a half, more cardiovascular. Like I said, you can take it in short, you're just moving this way and moving this way.
Yeah.
It's gonna work more HIIT training, cardiovascular training. Obviously I'm breathing hard right now, but you can do anything you want on it. It's just rotational rather than, vertical, standard of what you get in the gym.
How similar is it to that oblique trainer in the gym where you get in it, you kind of anchor your knees in and then turn?
Yeah, it's different. Because obviously you can't, the beauty of this, you're interacting with the ground.
Right.
And so again, you're working everything up here. I tweak my obliques a little bit, I'm feeling it's good for it.
Did you just tweak it there?
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
tweaked it, throw it.
Right.
But I'm feeling all of that. That's what we want to hit with rotational training. But I'm mostly starting from the balls and heels of my feet. Right, and that's hard to replicate with anything else.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think for myself, expanding off that, being able to control my middle has really been the game changer in terms of understanding how to swing the club fast. And I think generally people just don't have that awareness. So a tool like this would actually really help kind of streamline that awareness. I'm gonna hop on it. Justin's gonna take me through a little workout. I drove up here, I gotta try this. So what do you say, we take this for a little spin?
Yeah, let's do it. I'll lower the weight for you. All right, so we're at 100, which should be a good starting weight for it. We'll go 30 each side, range of motion 100 degrees each way.
All right.
Good?
Let's do it.
There we go. All the way through. Very nice. I like how you're kind of having a mini step too. The left side you're here and your foot leaves the ground, so you're really reinforcing, kind of starting from the ground. It's awesome.
Yeah, exactly what it looked like is exactly what it felt like. So when I got to the top, first of all, I was trying to kind of anticipate where the full range of motion is. Once you get to the full range of motion at the top, it actually kind of locks you in. And when it locks you in, for example, to my right side, it keeps your shoulders closed as the pelvis starts to go, and then the shoulders catch up. Like, that's one of the things I'm always trying to feel in my own swing, and I think Justin kind of feels something very similar as well. Yeah. So, really good. Obviously, did 10 reps and I'm
yeah, it was smoky too, so it'll get you in good shape.
30 pounds resistance, so this guy was working at 70, so.
Had a few years, probably be 60, 70 before the end of the day, because you do catch on really quick, like I said.
Yeah, so really cool device. If you guys get the chance to jump on one of these, I highly recommend it. I don't think Jerry's renting out sessions right now.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, maybe $2-3 grand an hour.
So hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe button, and leave a comment below. It helps the YouTube algorithm and it helps us out. So we want to thank our sponsors, Iron Jock, and from Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, Justin James, Josh Koch. We'll see you next time.